Google just shipped something that's been science fiction until now, an AI agent on Mac that can actually run your computer. Gemini Spark isn't a chatbot that answers questions. It's an autonomous AI that watches your screen, understands what you're doing, and takes actions for you. Imagine telling your computer, research the top 3 cloud providers, compare their pricing tiers, and draft an email summarizing the findings. Instead of you clicking through sites, copying data, and typing it up over 2 hours, Spark does it all while you focus on other work. It's the difference between having a search engine and having an employee. For Mac users, this just went live, and it's already reshaping how thousands of professionals work. The capability isn't entirely new. Other AI labs have been experimenting with agentic models in private research settings. But putting it in the hands of everyday Mac users, integrated directly with Safari, Mail, Notes, and the file system, that's a watershed moment. Google basically said, "We are done with AI that just talks, now it executes." And that changes the game for what personal computing looks like over the next 18 months. Gemini Spark is Google's next-generation agentic AI model, specifically tuned to understand and interact with digital interfaces. Think of traditional AI like ChatGPT or Claude as incredibly smart librarians. They read your question, search through everything they know, and give you an answer. Spark is different. It's more like hiring an intelligent assistant who doesn't just answer questions, but who can actually pick up the phone, schedule meetings, draft documents, and manage tasks. Under the hood, Spark combines language understanding with what researchers call action grounding, the ability to map what it's thinking directly to what it needs to do on screen. When you ask it to research competitors, it can open your browser, navigate to search engines, click through results, read content, extract information, synthesize findings, and hand you structured results. Google trained Spark on countless examples of humans performing real work on computers, so it learned the patterns. The Mac version is particularly significant because Mac OS provides a clear, consistent interface layer that Spark can hook into. Google's engineers spent months making sure Spark understands Mac's interface conventions, where buttons live, what gestures work, how navigation flows. They also built in safety guardrails, so Spark asks for permission before taking sensitive actions like deleting files or accessing passwords. Breakthrough with Spark is something called reinforcement learning from human feedback, RLHF, which taught the AI to plan sequences of actions before executing them. Here's what happens under the hood. You give Spark a goal, say, find the cheapest flights to Melbourne for the first week of August and add them to my spreadsheet. Spark breaks that down into steps. First, it needs to open your browser. Second, it navigates to a flight search site. Third, it enters your criteria. Fourth, it searches and reviews results. Fifth, it opens your spreadsheet. Sixth, it enters the data. Each step involves predicting what action to take, watching the screen change, and then predicting the next action. Spark does this all continuously, learning from the real-time feedback of what happens on screen. The real innovation is that Spark doesn't need a human to confirm every single step. Instead, it works autonomously until it hits something uncertain. If it's unsure whether a button is safe to click, or if accessing something requires your credentials, it stops and asks. This human-in-the-loop approach is what makes it practical. It's not replacing human judgment, it's augmenting it. Spark handles the tedious mechanical steps while you stay in control of decisions that require judgment, intuition, or access to private information. Google showed off several concrete examples of what Spark can do on Mac, and they're genuinely impressive. One demo had Spark analyzing an earnings report PDF, thousands of pages of financial data, and extracting only the risk factors relevant to a specific company. Spark read through the document, identified sections, synthesized key risks, and created a summary report. That would take a human analyst hours. Spark did it in minutes. Another example, a marketer asked Spark to analyze their email campaign performance, open rates, click-through rates, sentiment, and draft a report with recommendations. Spark pulled data from multiple spreadsheets, analyzed trends, identified patterns the marketer had missed, and suggested 3 concrete optimizations. A third use case, developers using Spark to automate code review prep. They ask Spark to review their pull request, check for common pitfalls, run style checks, and generate a summary for their team. It doesn't replace human code review, but it catches obvious issues and saves reviewers time on mechanical checks. The pattern across all these is the same. Humans focus on strategy, creativity, and decisions. Spark handles research, synthesis, and documentation. In practice, this means professionals get back 5, 10, maybe 15 hours a week. For teams running lean, that's enormous. It's not hyperbole to say Spark is the first AI that genuinely multiplies how much one person can accomplish. ChatGPT is still the most popular AI assistant globally. It has over 200 million users and revolutionized how people think about language models. But ChatGPT is fundamentally reactive. You ask it a question, it generates text. You ask it to analyze a document, you copy-paste the text into the chat. You ask it to research something, you manually switch back and forth between ChatGPT and your browser. Claude from Anthropic is similarly impressive, but operates the same way. It's a very smart text engine. Spark flips that paradigm. Instead of you ferrying information to the AI, Spark ferries actions between your applications. You set a goal, Spark handles the orchestration. That said, ChatGPT and Claude have advantages too. They're better at open-ended reasoning and creative writing. They're more transparent, you can see their reasoning. Spark is more opaque because it's working through your screen. ChatGPT is available on every platform, Windows, Linux, browser, mobile. Spark launched on Mac first, so Windows users are waiting. Claude's long context window, it can handle 200,000 tokens, makes it better for massive document analysis. Spark's advantage is execution. It doesn't just tell you what to do, it does it. Over the next 6 months, expect these tools to converge. OpenAI will add more actions to ChatGPT. Anthropic will likely release agent capabilities on Claude. But Google moved first on the consumer Mac platform, and that first-mover advantage is significant. Spark's Mac launch is the moment Agentic AI stops being a theoretical capability and becomes a professional tool. For the past 2 years, AI researchers have theorized about autonomous agents, AI systems that could plan and execute tasks without constant human intervention. Everyone assumed it was 5 to 10 years away. Google basically arrived and said, no, it's here now. This has huge implications. First, job market disruption accelerates. Roles that are 70% rote, repetitive work, data entry, basic analysis, report generation, email management, these become partially automatable. That doesn't mean people lose jobs overnight, but it means those roles change. Demand changes toward people who can prompt, validate, and guide AI rather than execute the routine work. Second, productivity inequality grows. Teams or companies that adopt Spark aggressively get a multiplier on their output. A team of 5 people with Spark might accomplish what 10 people could do 5 years ago. That concentrates competitive advantage with early adopters. Third, security and privacy become critical. If an AI has access to your entire digital workspace, emails, files, browser history, applications, that's a goldmine for hackers if it's compromised. Google is betting on strong encryption and permission models, but this attack surface is new and untested. Finally, the AI arms race heats up. Microsoft has to ship something comparable on Windows. Apple will want native capabilities. OpenAI's response to Spark's launch will shape which AI company wins the consumer platform layer over the next 3 years. If you're on Mac and want to try Gemini Spark, here's what you need to do. First, you need a Google account. This can be your personal Gmail or a workspace account if you're using Google's business tools. Head to Google's official website and look for the Gemini Spark beta sign-up. It's currently rolling out in phases, so not everyone has access yet, but Google is expanding availability rapidly. If you see an option to join the beta, take it, you'll get access within a few days. Once you're enrolled, you'll see a new Spark tab in your browser or as a separate app on your Mac. The interface is clean, just a text input box where you describe what you want done. Start with something simple. Instead of asking Research AI News, try Find articles published in the last 48 hours about generative AI and summarize the key developments. Spark will take it from there. Open your browser, navigate, research, and deliver results. As you get comfortable, scale up. Give it more complex tasks, analyzing data, drafting documents, scheduling tasks. Pay attention to where Spark asks permission. Those checkpoints are built in intentionally. If you see a moment where Spark hesitates or asks for approval, That's the system working correctly. Don't just rubber stamp every prompt, actually review what Spark is about to do. That's how you catch mistakes or unintended actions. Gemini Spark on Mac is a watershed moment. This is the first time a major tech company has shipped agentic AI to millions of mainstream users, not just researchers or developers. That changes the game. Over the next 3 months, watch for 3 things. First, how quickly does adoption grow? Spark only matters if people use it. Second, what security issues emerge? Every new technology has blind spots. Third, what's Microsoft's response? Windows has 2 billion users. If Microsoft can't ship something comparable soon, Google wins the next decade of personal productivity. For you as a viewer, here's what this means. The AI you interact with every day is about to fundamentally change. You're moving from asking questions to delegating work. That's a complete change in how humans and AI collaborate. If you've been sitting on the fence about AI, thinking it's just chatbots, Spark is the moment to jump in and experience what the technology can actually do. Follow this channel for daily updates as the AI landscape evolves. These changes happen fast, and staying informed is the only way to stay ahead.